All right, if you have student loans, you're going to want to listen up. The ground is literally shifting beneath our feet. A huge new law, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, yeah, they're calling it OBBBA, is completely rewriting the rulebook. Today, we're going to break down exactly what this means for your debt. You know, for the past 5 years, dealing with student loans has felt like being on a roller coaster in the dark, right? We've had payment pauses, interest freezes, these temporary forgiveness programs, court battles. It has been confusing and, frankly, exhausting. Well, that whole era of chaos, it's over. But what's taking its place is a new, much stricter reality. I mean, just look at this timeline. It's been total whiplash. It started back in 2020 with the payment pause. Then we got a little bit of hope with that PSLF waiver. But then, bam, the Supreme Court blocks broad forgiveness. And then the super popular SAFE plan gets stopped by the courts too. All this back and forth created a massive problem. And OBBBA, well, OBBBA is the government's answer. So think of OBBBA as the brand new official rulebook. It's designed to bring some stability, some predictability back into the system, which is good. But, and it's a big but, that stability comes at a price. A lot of the flexible, really borrower-friendly options that we've kind of gotten used to, they're going away. Okay, so let's dive in. Here's our roadmap. We're going to cover the new reality of student loans. Then we'll get into the huge changes to borrowing limits. After that, we'll break down the new standard repayment plan. It's called RAP. Then we'll look at what's happening to forgiveness. And we'll wrap up with the critical deadlines you absolutely cannot afford to miss. So what is this new reality, really? Well, in a nutshell, it's a trade-off. We get a system that has clearer, more permanent rules, which is great, but we lose a lot of the generosity and just the sheer number of choices that we had before. The time of temporary fixes and these little flexible loopholes, yeah, that's officially over. First up, let's talk about borrowing, because this is where the new rules are going to hit families the hardest right out of the gate. There are new caps on borrowing that are going to fundamentally change how people plan and pay for college. For decades, literally for decades, parents could take out these things called Parent Plus loans for up to the full cost of attendance, no matter how expensive the school was. Well, that's officially a thing of the past. OBBBA puts a hard annual cap of $20,000 per child. That's it. And on top of that yearly cap, there's also a new lifetime limit of $65,000 per student. So for a normal four-year degree, you can see how this means families are going to have to plan way more carefully to cover what could be a pretty significant gap in funding. And you know, for graduate students, the change is even more shocking. The Grad Plus loan isn't being capped or limited. It's being completely eliminated. Gone. This program was a huge source of funding for master's degrees, PhDs, law school, you name it. And now it's just gone. So what does this all mean in the real world? Well, a student's own borrowing limits for their undergrad degree are staying the same. But these new caps on what parents and grad students can borrow create a massive funding gap. It's almost certain this is going to push more families to use private loans, which just don't have the same protections and flexibility as federal ones. All right, so that covers borrowing. Now, how are you going to pay all this money back? Well, that whole confusing alphabet soup of income-driven plans, pay, repay, save, it's getting phased out. The system is being simplified a lot, down to just a couple of main options. So meet the Repayment Assistance Plan, or RAP. This is the new cornerstone plan. It's the new default. Your payment is based on a percentage of your income, and it has this one absolutely game-changing feature. It completely pays for any unpaid interest every single month. Let me show you how that works. Let's say your payment is $400 a month, but the interest that adds up is $700. In the past, that $300 difference would just get tacked onto your loan and your balance would get bigger and bigger. But under RAP, the government pays that $300 for you. It's gone. This means your balance will never grow because of unpaid interest again. So how does RAP compare to the one other major plan that's sticking around, income-based repayment, or IBR? Well, the trade-offs are really clear. With RAP, you get that amazing interest subsidy, so your balance never grows. But you're looking at a 30-year timeline for forgiveness. With IBR, forgiveness could come sooner, and it has a payment cap, but that interest help is way more limited. And that payment cap on IBR, it is a huge deal if you're a high earner trying to get public service loan forgiveness. See, on IBR, your payment can never go higher than what it would be on a standard 10-year plan, no matter how much money you make. But on RAP, there's no cap at all. So as this example shows, for someone like a doctor, that could be the difference between paying $2,300 a month versus $3,700. A huge difference. Okay, so this brings us to the bigger picture on forgiveness. And there are two really critical stories playing out here. One of them basically slams the door shut for parents, and the other one creates this new cloud of uncertainty for anyone working in public service. The main takeaway for parents is honestly pretty stark. Their ability to get on any kind of income-driven repayment plan or to get public service loan forgiveness is about to completely disappear. This is what makes the upcoming deadline that we're going to talk about so incredibly important. Now, for everybody on that PSLF track, the basic rules are the same: 120 qualifying payments while you work in public service. The problem is that the program itself has become super politicized. There are new proposed rules that could kick certain types of nonprofits out of the program, and that creates a lot of instability for a program that's already forgiven over $74 billion in loans. Okay, this is the most important part. We've gone through all the new rules, so now let's talk about what you need to do. Let's focus on the urgent deadlines and the key takeaways you absolutely need to remember from all of this. I want you to burn this date into your brain. July 1st, 2026. This is not some soft deadline. It is a hard stop that kicks off several major, permanent changes to the entire student loan system. So who needs to act by this date? First and foremost, parent plus borrowers. This is your last chance, your final opportunity to consolidate your loans so you can get eligible for an income-driven plan. After this date, that door closes for good. This is also the day the new RACP plan officially launches, and when people on some of those older, phased-out plans will start getting moved over automatically. So let's just summarize everything. Here are your 3 key takeaways. Number 1, borrowing is a lot tighter. Those new caps on parent and grad loans mean families need to completely rethink how they're going to pay for college. 2, repayment is stricter. RAP is the new default plan, and that means a longer 30-year road to forgiveness for most people. And 3, the most urgent point of all, act now, especially if you're a parent with these loans. That July 1st, 2026 deadline is your last shot. It is absolute. So the years of chaos, of temporary fixes, they're over. And what's left is a new rulebook that's stable, sure, but it's a lot less forgiving. So the ultimate question now isn't really about what's fair or what's political. It's about being prepared. The new game has already started. Is your financial strategy ready to play?